Okay, folks, here we go. I'll now call the Palo Verde Community College District Board of Trustees meeting in order for today, January 19th, 2021. Quick order of business. Palo Verde College Board of Trustees welcomes you to our board meeting today. While the community is under public meeting restrictions, stay-at-home orders by state and local authorities, our board meetings will be accessible to the members of the public via Zoom, telephone, and YouTube live streaming. Board members will be participating from remote locations, and there will be no physical location from which members can attend. Any public comments received via email up to 1/2 hour prior to the start of the meeting will be read into the record by the meeting moderator. These temporary modifications to the public meeting law have been authorized by executive orders from the governor. Until further notice, our board meetings will be held in this manner. Our board is committed to the continued education and safety of our students, faculty, staff, and community. We thank you for your patience and understanding during this difficult time, and we will now begin our meeting. Folks, please stand with me and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
to the
to
flag
the flag
to
of the United States of America,
the Republic,
republic for which it stands,
one nation,
nation,
under God, visible, with liberty.
Liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Ms. Mullion, roll call, please.
Mr. Arneson,
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Davis, Ms. Davis. Did she? There she is. Mr. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Here.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes,
Ms. Stiers,
Here.
Dr. Thomas,
here,
Mr. Dean,
here.
Dr. Wallace,
Here.
Mr. Smith,
Here.
Ms. Slagan. Here.
All right. I will entertain a motion for the approval of the December 11th, 2020 regular board meeting minutes.
So moved.
second,
I've got a motion and a second. Questions, comments, concerns? Does this need to go? This doesn't need to go by roll call, does it, Carrie?
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. Okay, Ms. Mullion?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Ms. Davis, Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes,
Ms. Stiers.
Yes, it keeps freezing. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now. Yes, thank you. Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
yes,
Mr. Dean,
yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the December 11th, 2020 Palo Verde Community College District Financing Corporation minutes.
So moved.
approved,
I've got a motion and a second. Questions?
Second,
Questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none. Ms. Mullion?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Mr. Davis, Ms. Davis. I think she's having connection issues.
Okay.
Ms. Davis,
There she is.
Ms. Davis, can you hear me? I cannot see her video either.
No, I've just got her name on
It
the in a
keeps
box.
going in.
You might want to, okay, thank you. We got a thumbs up. Mr. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
Okay, I will entertain a motion for the approval of tonight's agenda.
Move to approve.
John
Okay.
McNeil will second the agenda.
What's that?
Did you just have a first on the agenda?
yes, we did.
John McNeil will second the agenda.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've got a first and a second. Any questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none. Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Ms. Davis, Ms. Davis? Can you give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
Okay, we're good.
Mr. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean?
Yes.
Okay. 1.7, the announcement of recusal from any agenda item. Does any board member have anything they can't actively vote on this evening?
No, for me.
All right, moving right along. Hearing of citizens on agenda items. Ms. Millian, is there any correspondence?
No, sir, none submitted.
All right. In that case, brings us to section number 3, reports. Richard Castillo, CCA, CTA President.
Good morning, board. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Richard, go
Okay,
ahead.
Good. Okay. Just want to say welcome back from the holidays. And this week, the faculty is going to be starting their Flex Day training on Thursday. We'll be all day on Thursday with Illumin training and inputting SLOs. Mr. Rahman will be helping us with that and guiding us through it. And on Friday, we also have another Flex Day of training and getting ourselves caught up with some teaching methods and other training. The big news, well, before I get to the big news, I also want to welcome on our new child development education instructor, Dana Ritzwitz. She'll be starting this semester, I believe, with teaching. So she brings to the faculty a wealth of knowledge and experience to share in the classroom. And the big news that we have is last Monday, the faculty, or at least some of the faculty, the first group of it, started training with @ONE for online education using Canvas. And so we are going into week 2. And right after I get off my report, I will be going in and working on my training for that course. We have been working diligently with the course, learning the basics right now. And if there's one thing that I've learned in the past week and a half is just the wealth of knowledge and skill that I have to learn from this, not just myself, but also the faculty. And the one way I can compare it to is back in the old days where human beings first discovered fire, how to make fire, but then all of a sudden eyes open on how to use it. So that's the feeling I get with using Canvas here, is like how to use it effectively. And after talking with some colleagues and also looking at my son's university courses that are on Canvas at his university, I believe that this is going to be a new era for Palo Verde College to be online after all of the faculty are done with the training. And of course, there's going to have to be some follow-up training from what I see down in the future, because this thing is always changing. There are some things about Canvas that are not just, it's always evolving, always updating, always advancing. So if there's one thing that I think that this training is also teaching us is we have to remain at the same speed as to which Canvas is actually improving our online education experience, both here at Palo Verde College and for our students. And unless anyone has any questions for me, that will be the end of my report.
Questions for Mr. Castillo?
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Castillo.
Hearing none, Mr.
You all
Castillo,
have a
thank
good
you. I
evening.
appreciate it. You too.
I'm going to go right back to my studies now. So,
Uh,
and it does take a lot of time. It takes more than 10 hours a week. I'll tell you, it's probably about
Wow.
24
Good
hours
luck.
a week. All right. See you later.
Thank you.
All right, 3.2 Academic Senate, Sarah Fred.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I just want to speak plainly tonight. The past few weeks have been really harrowing and upsetting. Our hospital capacities are at 0%. Deaths are at an all-time high. And there's a very real and valid concern regarding local health care and available local doctors. I personally am just gutted by the couple of recent local deaths, especially Dr. Peglanwan. And I know I'm not alone in that. Many in our community join me in this deep, profound grief. And these deaths are compounded by what might be happening in each of our own personal circles with family and loved ones testing positive, being admitted to the hospital, or the stress of waiting for a bed or a ventilator. And all of this is cumulative and it weighs really heavy. And we are all in need of extra support and extra courtesy and extra regard. And so my conclusion is that no one is operating at their peak. No one is doing well. No one is showing up to work and is able to shoulder the typical workload because we are all struggling. And when I say we are all struggling, I really mean we are all struggling. Employees, managers, administrators, board members, students, our neighbors, strangers, like no one is exempt from the toll of the past 9 months. Nonetheless, I believe we are all doing our best, showing up and doing the very best that we can. I've been sitting on the Safe Reopening Committee for a few months now, and I'm truly hopeful that we are in the final stages of completing the plan. This document is not a fail-safe. It's not a silver bullet. It's just the best we can do to mitigate the risk of this pandemic, which has mortal consequences for some, devastating long-term health consequences for others, and negligible symptoms for an unknown population. The reality is we don't know how our individual bodies will handle this until we have confirmation that we have tested positive. The Safe Reopening Plan can serve as a guide for all of us to hold each other accountable. We 100% need to have checks and balances. We need to take a really hard line on mask wearing and social distancing and hand washing. And it's going to give us the best chance at opening our campus and keeping it open. It's going to give us the best chance at all of us being able to keep up with our work, because when we have to close our doors, it just piles up and piles up and piles up. It's going to give us the best chance at maintaining our FTES for us to be able to complete the registration process for correspondence students, especially who do it all by paper and who are mailing it in for everybody to get through processing all the mail that's coming in and putting everything manually into the computer. And it's going to give us the best chance, I think, at showing our community just how much we care. The vast majority of faculty members will return to work this week if they haven't already returned, as Richard mentioned, for flex days that we're doing via Zoom. We are interested in teaching, we're interested in supporting our students and the community. And when it comes time for us to transition back to campus and offer limited face-to-face courses or face-to-face interaction with students in whatever capacity makes sense, we want to do that as long as the priority is consistent and persistent COVID safety protocol and a very real accountability for those who are not following it. Leading in times of chaos, for example, right now, can feel like we just have a number of bad options. And sometimes it can position our non-pandemic protocols as the ones that make the most sense to us because they're familiar and comfortable and usually pretty convenient. So it takes something extra for all of us to do a routine thing differently, like remembering a mask every time you leave the house, which we've been like asked to do since like May or something, and it's still something that I need help remembering. But it's especially difficult for leaders to carve out something new in the face of crisis and to be flexible and to be innovative. And I want to offer my support and the support of Academic Senate and my gratitude to the leaders at PVC who are not relying on past practice, but have somehow found the fortitude to plan and execute something different. As I've said before, we are all struggling. None of us are doing great. We are all experiencing great loss and grief, and we still have work to do. And I'm here, and I'm still moving forward. And that's the end of my report. If anyone has questions.
Any questions for Sarah?
This
Here
is
you go.
John. Still not a question, but I'm so sorry about that. And here in Needles, we're experiencing all that and then some too, just like what you explained.
All right. Sarah, thank you. All right, folks, 3.3 CSEA Chapter 180, Richard Soto. Designee. All right, 3.4 Associate Student Government, Jared Dean.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
The students that are in the process of enrolling and registering for classes, and for those of us, including myself, who are transferring at the end of the semester to a different community or a different college and universities, we're waiting on admissions and all that. So that's it for my report. Thank you.
All right. Questions for Mr. Dean? Hearing none.
Where you're going?
I've applied to Cal Poly Pomona.
I'm an alumni.
Oh, awesome.
Go to the gymnasium, look on the wall. There's John McNeil.
I'll have to keep an eye out for that.
And Dr. Wallace.
Hello, just a couple of words from me. I'm recovering from my surgery I had last week. Saw the doctor today and he said everything's going well, but he's gonna give me another week off to get fully recovered. I'll be back on, God willing, on Monday, first day of classes. So we'll look forward to that. And I'm gonna leave all of my reporting to the wonderful people who have been carrying the load since I've been out, the vice presidents and Ceci and so many others that sometimes when you're missing the tip of the apex of the leadership, others just step up and do it. And they're not calling, they're not saying, well, what do you think, Dr. Wallace? They're just doing it. And I really appreciate that. They're all very capable. And I think this has given them the opportunity to really step out in a little bit higher capacity than they normally would be in. But thanks to Willie and Ceci and Stephanie and all the rest of them, too many to name, even the deans, associate deans and so forth. But anyway, we'll see you, hopefully see you next week.
Get well soon.
Thank
All right,
you.
Doc, hope you feel better. All right, 3.6 Vice President of Instruction, Student Services, Willie Smith.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
This is usually a very busy time for us at distance learning over here, and this has been a little bit busier than usual. We've had some COVID restrictions, and I can say that staff have come from all departments to pitch in to help distance learning get through the enormous amount of paper that we're shuffling and trying to get out. We're trying to get out our syllabi and assignments to our institutions. Plus, we also have to handle an enormous amount of incoming assignments and mail yet from last semester because of delays because of COVID. So hopefully we're going to meet our deadline. It's been a real crunch there. I will say that Miss Lawley, as John mentioned a few minutes ago, has suffered some COVID-related issues up there in Needles, and hasn't been very pleasant for them and her, and trying to keep her operation running. It's been very trying, I would say.
Willie,
Yes.
thank you, but I actually tested negative. My real test came out negative, so I'm good.
Okay.
Good.
Very good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Yes.
But your workplace has had some setbacks, but also as well. And
Yes, that's very true. Yes.
it's kind of slowed impaired your operation to move
Very much
moving
so.
forward, especially at this time, critical time of registration. Also, in addition to that, Bijou and Irma have had a dialogue with staff about working remotely and seeing if they need additional training or additional equipment to work remotely. So we want to have a better cohesive working relationship with administration and staff to make our system work better for our students and community. It's really something really big and positive. There's positive stuff out there. Bijou has been working. He's just been really working hard long before I got back into this position of trying to get the nursing program back up and get a nursing program up. And so we had on the 7th of January, we held a Zoom meeting with the nursing board and Dr. Thomas attended, Mayor Dale Reynolds attended, Councilman Rodriguez and myself attended that meeting. And the Board of Registered Nurses deliberate the feasibility, if they would accept our program and to move to the next phase for the feasibility study, which will be February 17th and 18th. So we're really looking forward to moving this program. We've spent a lot of money, enormous amount of time, and Bijou sometimes it's been overwhelming for him to move this program along and get it this far. So hopefully we'll be able to get more positive information the 17th and 18th of February. That's the end of my report. Unless you have something additional, I'll answer any questions. Thank
So
you.
everything's moving right along, Willie? Everybody's getting caught up with the distance learning, and
I would not say that we're getting caught up, Stella. Can't say, I'd be lying to you if I said we were, because we've had some setbacks here as well. But
everybody's doing the best they can.
Every day is as Sarah did talk about, but every day is a challenging day with COVID. There's nothing that's set that in my time that I've encountered anything like this to work through. As administrators, we're hit with COVID-related issues. It's Saturday, Sunday. It doesn't end. It's just a constant, ongoing new way of life and new problems and new barriers. It doesn't end.
Yeah, I can relate. We used to have the same thing in our courts and our judicial system, and things are changing every single day with that. So, well, I wish everybody good luck, and thank you everyone for the hard work you've put in.
Thanks, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Any more questions or comments for Mr. Smith? Hearing none, Willie, thank you very much. All right. Vice President of Administrative Services, Stephanie Slagan. Stephanie.
Hello. I want to update you on the COVID safe reopening plan. As Sarah said, we've been meeting weekly. We have 4 sections of the COVID safe reopening plan left, which we hope to accomplish the final revisions of that next Tuesday when we meet. Once the revisions are complete, we'll have it go back to each constituency group for their final review and bring back any changes they may have. So we hope to have the safe reopening plan on the board agenda at the next meeting in February. Once we have that safe reopening plan approved, we'll then go with making sure that the community has a copy of it, doing a press release and so forth. Ceci has also been working on something called the Appian Campus Pass. It's an online health screening and contact tracing, and that we're hoping to go live at the end of February. So that is part of our safe reopening plan. It's crucial to make sure that people who are visiting our campus have access to this and are reporting any symptoms or any contact with individuals who may have symptoms. As Willie noted, there was some issues down in Needles with COVID-19, and our M&O department has been down there several times to sterilize the building, make sure that everything is nice and safe for those returning to work. We did have a little bit of a delay for our construction starting on the mezzanine project due to these COVID issues, but we're hopeful that we'll be able to make up time through the project. It's a pretty short project. Okay. We are sterilizing the buildings in Blythe on a daily basis. Upon the recommendation of Academic Senate, we did purchase also sterilization stickers so that once we go into an office or room, we mark the door jamb, put the sticker over the door jamb so that we know which areas need to be sterilized on an ongoing basis. So we have trained our M&O staff to use the CDC preferred equipment to be able to do that so that we can provide a safe working environment. Next month, we should have our finalized audits for you. And we are confident that there are no audit findings this year. On the foundation side of it, we have about $91,000 in scholarships. Those are from endowed scholarships that we'll be able to give out to students. We also have about $128,000 that we received from Finish Line for emergency grants just for this spring semester. So we are actively looking for students to apply for those scholarships. As well as we have STEM scholarships available through NextEra and Southern California Edison. So there's lots of money available for students right now for scholarships, emergency grants, so that we can help them during this next semester of still COVID related issues. So we're hopeful that we can help all the students, but that's all I have for right now.
Stephanie, I have a question.
Sure.
Are the offices that are being staffed, are they being sanitized at the end of the day by janitors once they leave?
So we have two options, and it depends on the staffing that day. It's either sterilized upon their leaving, or we have staff maintenance come in early before they arrive. So usually our maintenance show up about 5 or 6 a.m. The first employee comes into the office about 7 a.m. So they are being sterilized. The sterilization wands that we use it's electrostatic, so it dries within about 10 minutes. So all buildings that are being used are getting sterilized. And then for those rooms that aren't being used, they'll be marked as sterilized until somebody goes into those. I also forgot to mention that we will be receiving about $538,000 in additional CARES stimulus funding for the district. So we'll be able to use that to pay for the staff training, as well as any other COVID related expenses that come up.
So our maintenance department is handling the sterilization, not custodians?
our custodial and maintenance department work together. So we have custodians that come in and clean the buildings. We have trained both custodial staff and maintenance staff to utilize the equipment so that if one's not available or overwhelmed, we can have the other step in and help.
And the protocol, if someone does come up COVID, what is being done with that office?
We immediately sterilize their workstation. So
You don't be out of the building for 24 hours and then go in?
It depends on where it is. We have like in the Needle Center, we found out someone was COVID related positive and waited 24 hours to go in. If it's on campus and the door can be shut, then we can wait 24 hours to go in. If it's in an open area, then we try to go in with the necessary PPE on. All of our staff has been trained to use their PPE and sterilize that section so that no one else is exposed.
Thank you.
Stephanie,
Yes.
when we go in and sterilize those rooms and those places and so forth, do we and we tag them? Do we put on the tag date and time?
I don't know. We just received the tags, so this is something new. I'm not sure if it has a date and time on there, but I can look and get back to you.
The reason I'm saying that is because so that the next person that come up or the next person that needs to do it and so forth will know what date and time the last sterilization was done to that particular area.
And when staff can go back in there.
So when the stickers are placed on the door, that means that the sterilization has occurred. If there's no break in the seal, there's no need to go in and re-sterilize the building because we can prove that no one's been in that building. So once you open the door, the sticker breaks. So we'll know by broken stickers which ones need to be sterilized ongoing. So if someone doesn't use their office that day and the sticker's intact, we don't need to go in and re-sterilize the building or that room.
So how long does the sterilization last? Say for instance that it may be say a week or more or longer than we use that particular room. Does it continue to last as long as the seal is not broken?
As long as it's not contaminated by a person going in there. We have installed MERV 13 filters. So we have a high filtration system and we've had MCOR come out and adjust our airflow, everything to make sure that we're not carrying particles.
That's what
from
I was
room
wondering
to room.
about, particles in the air.
Yes. So we have taken care of those issues. So that is why, and unless the sticker is broken, that we do not need to go in and re-sterilize.
All right, any more questions for Ms. Legan?
Arneson?
Yes.
I don't have a question, but I would like to say some positive. Currently, our Pirates, Palo Verde Pirates basketball team is in LA at the University of LA playing basketball. I don't know what the outcome is or if they're completed, but at least they're playing ball and they're in LA. So there's something positive.
Are they practicing, Willie? I mean, or they just go to a game?
No, they're going to a game.
No practice?
Oh, no. Have they practiced? Yes. They've been practicing. They have 2 Zoom meetings a week, and I believe they're doing 2 physical practices a week here on campus. So we do have movement there and some positive things going on.
Good.
How often are the players test?
They're testing. They test every Tuesday at Blythe Mart. So we have set up a system with Blythe Mart for them to be tested. So they all go down there at some point Tuesday morning and test.
Okay. All right. Willie, thank you. That's good. Lolly.
Well, as Willie and first of all, good evening.
Good evening.
Evening.
As Willie and Stephanie indicated, we've had, and John, it's been quite a challenge up here as well, as down in Blythe. And because we have essentially a skeleton crew, so few people up here that, if you have 2 incidences with 2 different people out of the 6, then, that ends up being, especially depending on the positions, it becomes an even greater challenge in terms of whether it's maintenance and operations or IT. So that's what we've been working with. But to Mario's and his crew's credit, they've been wonderful about coming up here and providing us with the necessary support and sterilization for the 2 occasions that we needed them to come up here. Well, actually, I guess that would be 3 counting me. But it turns out that when there was an incident last Thursday, then when I went to get a quick test, the quick test said that I was positive. Well, the quick test is an antibody test, and apparently there's a high level of false positives. However, Willie and Ceci got the brunt of my reactions on that, as to how in the world I could have possibly gotten that. But then again, it happens to all of us. So I'm in the clear, which is important for me because I don't, I want to be able to keep the center going regardless of, the challenges that we're facing. And, we're doing the best we can.
Yeah.
Like everybody said, we do all our registrations and everything, through phone right now, phone meetings, and it's working. But that's all I can say. I mean, we're ready to hopefully get through this in the healthiest manner and the best way possible. I did want to say though, after all this, and I got my real test results back, I went and got vaccinated. And, so I've had my first vaccine. I expect to get the second one about 3 weeks. I've had no side effects. It was a Moderna vaccine for those of you who are interested. So far so good.
Miss Lawley, does Albert not have, has he been trained for the sterilization? Because I just feel like if Mario and his crew, I mean, that takes time to get from, Blythe to Needles, and we should probably have those supplies there so he could take action on that as soon as possible.
Stephanie would know, but yes, he is being trained.
So we got the equipment in December. So far, once he returns back to work, he will be trained.
Right.
The goal is to have every site sterilized every day. That way, we can make sure our staff and faculty are safe.
So they do have the sterilization equipment in Needles now?
Yes.
But he hasn't been trained?
No, because we got it in December and he hasn't been back to work in January. So as soon as he comes back, we will make sure that he has the necessary training.
Very important. Also, Miss Lawley, are there some staff that could work remotely?
It's really difficult to do that. For example, one of our staff members who's out at this point is takes care of our IT.
Mm-hmm.
All of our IT issues, and that he can't do remotely. And right now it's not a possibility in any case. the rest of us, you know, I mean, there are times when I may be able to, but I like being there as much as I can, just because.
Well, I think we all do. And I think the way of the, you know, the way it's going now, anyone that can work remotely is encouraged to do so. But it's just food for thought right there.
Right. Well, we you know, one of a couple of our people up here are part-time.
Okay.
So, you know, they come in when it's necessary, and a lot of it has to do with making sure that we're fully staffed when we're open, when the center is open, and for phone calls and every other service. So
you don't have students coming in, do you?
No, we don't. We've got, you know, barriers and stop signs and everything else, but we do have a drop box that was installed just like down in Blythe, where, you know, people drop all their paperwork for registration as well as the correspondence work.
Yeah.
And then that gets sent down to Blythe. Okay. So other than that, we don't have anybody come in. Anybody that comes in is people that are authorized to come in, right. And they have to fill out the appropriate paperwork. We do have a couple of faculty members, faculty that come in to pick up their mail from their mailboxes, but they come in, they have no contact with us. They come in and they walk straight to the mailboxes, pick them up, and then they're out of there in way less than 5 minutes.
Well, I'm glad you're doing better.
Thank you so much. I am too.
Thank you.
And that's all my report. Thank
Lolly,
you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments for Lolly? All right, hearing none, we're on to 3.9 with the Board of Trustees. I'll go ahead and start and then move it on to Stella. First of all, I want to take a quick second and say, Doc Wallace, I hope you feel better. Glad you're on the mend and look forward to getting you back whenever you're ready. I'd also like to acknowledge what Sarah Fred has said. She put into words the thoughts of a lot of people in our community and the hurt from a lot of people in our community over the recent losses. Wanted to thank Bijou Ramin. Whole lot of work with the nursing program and getting that rolling and back together. I'd like to welcome back all of the instructors for the semester, and away we go. And then Willie, I'd also like to thank you for the good news, because you know what, it's basketball, but it's just something positive that's happening, and thank you. It's a whole lot of negativity floating around, and it's just good to hear something good. And with that, I'll move on to Stella Stiers, please.
I don't have a lot to report. I'm still not back to work myself. I'm still recovering. I have about 3 more weeks. There is a huge concern. I know Blythe is getting hit hard with COVID. I have a lot of concerns with that. And I am glad to hear that everybody's wearing masks. Things are happening at the college. We need to be very, very careful. A lot of staff going to work, and the protocols that Ms. Lagan stated, I think it's very important that we follow that and we keep going with that and make sure that Albert gets trained on that. Also, my condolences to everyone who has COVID in our community, and my condolences to Dr. P. He was a wonderful doctor, and I don't know if most of the other doctors, I believe Dr. Rodriguez is home recovering. So everybody be safe, and we'll get through this. Be a while, but we will get through it. And I'm glad to see that the RN nursing program is on its way. That's a great job, Bijou. Thank you for that. I'm glad the basketball team's out and about. Just have to be careful. And that's all I have for right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. George Thomas.
Yes, I wasn't taking up a lot of time. I agree with all that's been said so far, and I'd like to thank the staff for them really working to get the staff and administration and faculty for working together in this trying times, being able to just pull together and help one another and keep things going. And also that, and to let the people in the community know that if we all pull together, if we all work together on one accord, we'll be okay. It may take some time, but we'll be okay. We just have to continue to believe that and continue to work together as one nation under God. We'll be okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Angel Ramirez.
You know, I totally agree with everything that's been said, and you know, just there's not much more to repeat. Just everybody stay safe. Great to see everybody again, and pretty much all I have.
All right, Stacy.
Can you hear me?
There you are. Yes.
Okay, I'm on the phone and I'm on the trying to listen in. Well, all of this has been really overwhelming the past few months, as everyone said, and it really hit home when my mom had got sick, and thank the Lord she's gotten well. And I had my housekeeper is out with the COVID, and one of my workers is out with COVID. And so I see that it's going rampant on the in Blythe, and it's really sad. I think until it hits home personally that I didn't realize how drastic it was. I've been trying to keep safe and trying to look how to keep others motivated that are down. I think a big thing is that we have to learn how to motivate people, because people are committing suicide. People are becoming depressed. People, they want to get out, and I understand that. And so we try to be as safe as we can. But this week I had lost a couple of people, and it hit home that it was like, wow. But I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to see everybody. I'm looking forward to these great news about the basketball team. I think my son's friend's on there, his best friend's on there. And it's always nice to bring something positive, like you said, to the meeting, because a lot of showers and sunshine has to come. And so I'm grateful for the little bit of nice news. And thank you guys for having them clean it. I understand those stickers they have at the hotels also. So it lets people know that everything is good to go inside the room. And that's a positive thing. So I'm very grateful that they have that going on. And I'm just have training this week, starting tomorrow. And so I'm looking forward to learning a lot more so I can be a better contributor to the board. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Dave Rehnquist.
Yes.
Your
What
turn.
is it? I'm hanging in.
All right. All right.
And I'm happy to still be breathing.
Yeah. That'll work. John McNeil.
Yeah, thank you very much. A couple of quick comments. Carrie, thank you for setting up the training that I'll be attending the next couple of days. That'll give me something to do, keep me out of trouble, but I really appreciate your communication, your following through, following up. And so I'll be zooming away the next couple of days, learning to be a better trustee board member. Wally, thank you so much for your leadership with the Needle Center. I look at you down here, you're in the corner of my screen. Don, get well. Oh my gosh, we don't like surgeries, but we do like you. Stephanie, thanks for doing such a great job with the finances. It's really terrific to follow what you're doing, keeping our college solvent and providing the resources, which I think is really an important factor. My last ad, it's been 8 weeks ago that I had COVID, and I'm going tomorrow for an x-ray. I have the COVID cough. We've been dropping people. We've got people dying here in needles now, and those stories go on, and we're really sorry about all of that. And it is very, very, very difficult. So with that, appreciate being part of this group.
All right. Okay, concludes the report section of our agenda tonight. We'll be moving along. Section number 4.1 would be the second reading of the PVC institutional goals for 2020 through 2023. We've all had a chance to go through those, correct?
Yes, sir.
Questions, comments, anything we need to add? No, pretty
I know
good.
I saw a final on here as well, right? For the institutional goals.
What's that?
This one's a draft, but there's also a final already, right?
Yes, it's down further down for a.
Further down to vote on.
Okay. Yeah, I thought I saw it. Okay.
Okay. Any more discussion on this? Hearing none. 4.2 is the strategic plan. We've had it. It's a 13-page document. We've all had a chance to go through it. Has the kid in the golf course looking back toward the college. We're good.
Wonderful.
Okay. Questions, comments, concerns, anything to add, anything to take out? All right, hearing none, we'll conclude the discussion there. And we'll move on to 4.3, which is facility name, the Needles Educational Center mezzanine. There are two attachments to this. Everyone's had a chance to look at them?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have a comment on it. You all remember when we went through this process for naming the Performing Arts Center for Ted after his passing. And that document went through a couple of different iterations based on your input. The final time we talked about it was up at we had our meeting at Needles that night, and there wasn't a big audience necessarily, but eventually we got the document where it needed to be and everything it needed to say. And we need to, at least if you have, input, we need to know that so we can bring you a document that represents all the interest. But first of all, the board needs to kind of decide whether this is something that they'd like to do. Oh, and let me mention too, this will be like planning a surprise birthday party, which never works out, but we're hoping this will be a surprise for Mr. Gonzalez, and that when we unveil this at the when the mezzanine is complete, that it will be a big surprise for him. So we'll try. It's in the public domain as of right now, but hopefully none of us at least will spill the beans to Mr. Gonzalez. But this came to me from a third-party source. Somebody suggested it that we do this, and I think it's a good idea. So just putting it in front of you for your thoughts, and if it looks good the way it is, we'll bring it back on a future board meeting to get it approved.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any other discussion on this?
I just want to comment that I think it's a terrific idea. And this chair that I'm in, was Ed's chair, pretty much big chair for me to fill. You talk about the shoes to fill. So I look forward to the opportunity.
That'll work. Okay. Section 5 of our agenda, information items. 5.1 is report of purchases and warrants. We've had a chance to go through this.
Yes.
All right. Questions, comments, concerns for Stephanie?
No.
Hearing none. All right. Brings us to 5.2 is our mileage mills and incidental rates for 2021.
I've got a quick comment. I used to do this kind of work. You can't eat on that, and you can't travel on those numbers. And anyway, it's just a crazy system that the IRS has. So I assume we hold people to these numbers. Is that right, Stephanie?
Yes. So we pay up to the per diem rate.
Oh my God. So nobody will go to San Francisco for sure.
They may go to San Francisco, but they will not. They will only get paid up to the per diem rate.
Which doesn't even cover their parking. Okay, got it.
Well, if they have parking, they will be reimbursed for parking. If they show that they spent $20 in parking, we will reimburse the $20. These GSA rates are just for meals. Incidental is considered tipping. So you'll only be reimbursed up to $5.
Okay. I
As Stephanie-
understand all that, and I know there's really not a good way to get around it, but I'm so sorry for the staff and all those that travel at these rates. But that, you know.
Well,
Okay.
no one's traveling right now, so.
Oh, that makes it okay. We weren't going to pay him anyway. Okay.
Just a comment, Stephanie, remind me, I believe this is based on the Riverside County Office of Education's policy, isn't it?
The IRS mileage rate comes from the Riverside County. The GSA per diem rates are based on Palm Springs rates, which are higher than the standard state of California rates.
All right. Any other discussion on this matter? Hearing none brings us down to 5.3, the 2021 contract bid threshold annual adjustment. I'll have a chance to go over this, and do we all understand it? We're good to go? Questions, comments, or concerns? All right. Hearing none, we'll move on to 5.4. Marissa Kernigan resignation, looks like a correction from the December 11th board meeting. All right. And last discussion item would be, last information item, pardon me, would be 5.5 training opportunities for the board. Listed there, and contact Carrie. She will get you lined up and taken care of. Looks like it's CCP and CCL both have stuff rolling, and it's all via computer nowadays. So anyway, questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, that brings us to section 6, the consent item of our agenda. We'll go through all of these and make one motion at the end, unless we need to pull one out and discuss individually. Okay, 6.1 is the approval of the curriculum, new and revised courses and programs for 2021. We'll take a look at this. Same thing we had earlier. Questions, comments, concerns? All right. 6.2 would be personnel action. And well, as an out of class A&R technician 2 and admissions records, 5% bump.
What's her position now, Dr. Wallace? Do you know, or Miss is
I'm going to have to let Ceci explain that one to us.
Yeah.
It's a technician 1 right now, but one of our her staff, the technician 1, relocate to another department, so she has been fulfilling those duties.
Okay.
Until we recruit and finalize the recruitment.
Thank you.
All right. Our temporary workers list for the semester is 6.3. And that brings it down to 6.4. I will entertain a motion for the approval of 6.1 to 6.3 consent calendar.
So moved.
Second.
From Stella, a second from who?
Angel.
From Angel. Angel, thank you. So thank you. Further questions, comments, or concerns on the consent calendar? Hearing none. Ms. Mullion?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Miss Davis,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
All right. Section number 7 of our agenda tonight is action items under heading of instruction. 7.1 is corrections to the academic Calendars fall 21 through fall 2024. In the background, there's a little description on it. Questions, comments, concerns, we're good. In that case, I will entertain a motion for the
Move to
approval.
approve.
Got a motion from Dr. Thomas, a second, please.
Second.
I've got a second from Angel Ramirez. Questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none. Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Ms. Davis? You're muted.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Dyers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. Section number 8 is action items under business. 8.1 is a spyglass contract to analyze communication costs. I'll entertain a motion.
Move.
A motion from Dave. A second, please.
John McNeil will second.
John McNeil will second. Copy that.
Question on it?
And questions, comments, and concerns. We'll have those now.
I didn't see a termination date on there. It looks like an evergreen.
No, so they're going to evaluate, we're going to send them a month's worth of our data connection bills. And what they're going to do is evaluate them against what we should be paying and go and try to recover costs for us. They will not be paid if they do not save the district any money.
I got that part, but it looks like there's no terminating date. It looks like they would, as long as they save money on their audit.
It's only, they only recover 1 year's worth of savings. So if they save us $500 in 1 year, their cost recovery would be 50% of that, so $250, and it's only for 1 year.
Oh, I didn't see the 1 year. I'll reread it. Okay, thank you.
So Stephanie, on his fees, it's at 50% of any cost recovery.
So any cost recovery, so if we have to agree so if they find a savings that really isn't a savings, we can say, no, that isn't a savings. We do not want to get rid of that. They would not be eligible for that cost recovery. It's only if the district sees tangible savings.
Could that tangible savings run into thousands? And
it could because they're going to go back and look at what we've been paying versus what should be and bring us the result of that.
So
they only get paid if we save money.
And so the goal would be you pay that one chunk of money to them.
Correct.
And the savings for the rest.
Correct. And moving forward, we would still save those funds, but they would not be paid for that moving forward. It would only be the cost recovery of the past.
That's a good idea. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion?
No.
Hearing none. Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Dyers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
Okay. 8.2, increase in funding to Palo Verde Community College District Child Development Center. Fiscal year 2021 CSPP 0391 Amendment 01. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Got a motion from Stella. A second, please. Second from Dr. Thomas. Questions, comments, concerns?
Just one question. That's around $7,000 or $8,000 difference. Is that because More children attending, or why the difference?
It says the maximum rate per child per day of enrollment. It looks like there was no change in that. So it's the minimum child days of enrollment increase. So it was a $7,600 increase.
So because of the enrollment.
Mm-hmm.
So how many children do we have? Do we know?
I believe one class has 20, I think 24 is the maximum, but we're also serving children online.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none. Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Dyers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
Okay. 8.3 is a contract with Luz Valenzuela as a consultant. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
I got a motion from Stella and a second.
Second, Stacy.
Stacy. All right, questions, comments, or concerns?
Just a comment. I believe we used Miss Valenzuela before, correct?
Yes, this is a yearly contract.
Okay.
Any other questions? Hearing none. Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Dyers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
Okay, that completes section 8 of our agenda tonight. Moving on to section number 9. Action items, personnel. 9.1 is CDC teacher salary schedules. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
I got a second from Mr. Rehnquist. All right. Questions, comments, concerns, discussion, anything?
Just a question. Has this changed from last year?
Yes, this is an annual increase in California for minimum wage, and so we have to update it every year. I think they're getting close to whatever the end point was supposed to be, but Ceci would know more about that than me.
Yes, and this one for the teachers, they got omitted the last time. We changed the part-time and the full-time staff, but not the teachers. But it's the minimum wage.
What about the aides? Is that changing for them as well?
Yes, it's at the minimum wage, but we already did it in December.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Dyers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
Okay. Brings us down to agenda section number 10, miscellaneous. 10.1 is the approval of the institutional goals we discussed earlier. I'll entertain a motion, please.
So move.
Got a motion from Mr. Ramirez, second, please.
Second?
And second from Ms. Dyers. Questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none. Ms. Millian?
Mr. Arneson, Mr. Davis, Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Dyers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean,
Yes.
All right, 10.2 would be the approval of the strategic plan we discussed earlier. I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
I've got a motion and a second, please.
John McNeil,
Second.
second.
I've got a second from Mr. McNeil. Questions, comments, concerns? Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ms. Mullin?
Mr. Arneson,
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Ramirez,
Yes.
Mr. Rehnquist,
Yes.
Ms. Stiers,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Dean.
Yes.
All right. 10.3 is CCCT Board nominee for 2021. I'll entertain a motion.
This would be a motion to open it up for discussion, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So are we voting on them today or we're just discussing who?
No,
So-
we need to decide whether we're going to have
So
No.
typically, this is if the board would want to nominate a trustee to run for this position.
Oh, okay.
And it's
Oh,
statewide and it's very competitive.
yes.
And the
People
deadline
who
is
get
next
these positions typically are very, very active across the state already.
Thank you.
deadline is next month too.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. You remember Susie ran for it and remember that?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
No
So,
nominations for me that I can think of.
so Carrie, if we don't get a motion in a second, can we just report that it failed due to lack of a motion or something?
Right, we just, yeah, this does not go anywhere. It'll be lack of a motion.
Okay.
So,
And then the next time when it comes up, then all the other people from other districts who have voted, then we vote on one of them, right?
Correct.
Uh-huh.
Okay. In that case, at this point, I've asked for motion, haven't received one. So we'll let it die for lack of motion and we'll move on to section number 11 would be hearing of citizens on non-agenda items. Has anyone called in, written in, emailed in, carrier pigeoned in?
no, there's none.
In that case, we'll adjourn out of closed session.
Brad,
Yes.
I didn't hear what you said, but unless you all need to talk about item 12.2, which typically you don't, there won't be any need for a closed session.
Okay. I've read through.
Great
all of
idea
them.
to me.
Yeah, they look good to me. I've read through all of them. I don't have any questions or concerns on them. Does anybody else?
No.
Yeah.
All right. If not, then we'll go closed session. Now, do I need to say something officially to not go into closed session, or do we just adjourn?
No, just meeting's adjourned.
Thank you all very much for your participation, and I appreciate it and look forward to seeing you here.
Thank you. Everybody stay safe.
Bye.
Say-
Bye, Lolly.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
All right.
Okay.